friends. You are now going to learn about what programming is all about. In fact, a software engineer would love to begin his career either as a developer or as a tester, both of which would require programming skills. Unfortunately, the university syllabus has not included programming as a subject. Maybe the CSIS students have learnt a few languages like C language, C++, Java and so on. Maybe the other branch students have learnt C language. But across the board, none of the students have actually learnt what programming is, because programming as a subject has never been included in the syllabus. It is such an irony, because today 80% of the companies, 90% of the companies actually have a round during the placements called as the programming round. Now the placement companies expect you to be good at programming, whereas the university syllabus doesn't have programming as a subject. This is where there is a gap, and that is why most of the freshers and the final year students are finding it difficult to actually get placed into the company, because they are not able to clear this hurdle of that programming ground. These set of videos are actually meant to tackle this hurdle. By the time you finished listening to all these videos, you as a programmer would have evolved. I don't think after listening to all these videos you would ever find programming round to be a difficult round in your placement process. In total, I would be discussing about 120 to 125 programs. These programs are such that these are the most commonly asked programs by the companies. The programs would include all the linked list based programs, the trees based programs, the sorting based programs, the pattern based programs, various types of programs I would be doing. Very often the company is going to ask you one or two programs out of the 120 odd programs that I would be teaching you. So that way your programming round would be a cakewalk, just in case they ask you the same programs. Even if in case they ask you something new, something that I have not done in these video sessions, I can assure you that your process of undergoing and listening all these 120 programs, it would evolve you as a programmer to such an extent where anything new that the company is going to ask you, I think you would be able to come up with a logic. At least to an extent of 80 to 90% you would be successful in coding it as well. And that is what actually the company also looks at. Frankly speaking, the company is not interested in your program as such. They check whether you are a logical thinker or not. Whether for the given problem, whether for the given question, you are able to produce a logical solution or not is what they actually look into, rather than your coding syntax. All said and done, from your end, you can relax and make sure that you are listening to all the video sessions related to programming. 100% by the end of which programming as a round would never be creating any hurdle for you. But then most of the students, particularly the non-CSIS students, this block is there in their mind that, oh, programming is very difficult. In the first year itself we have learned C language. C language was such a difficult language. We were not able to understand the lab programs. I hope most of you would agree with whatever I am saying. Please understand, C language is not difficult. Probably the fellow who taught you the language was a fool who could not convey things correctly to you. After all, C language is a high level language, and high level language we humans invented in order to simplify programming, not to complicate programming. So what I would like to tell you is, particularly for the non-CSIS branch students, also the CSIS branch students, that in case you have this stigma in your mind that programming is very difficult, it is something which maybe I would never be able to learn, all these stigmas remove from your brain. By the time you finish listening to 2 to 3 videos of programming sessions, I think you would start enjoying the programming videos. So we would be starting off with the programming sessions. The first thing I would like to tell you is, any program on this world you look at, in this world, you look at any program, let it be the simplest of simple to the most complex program. Any program you look at, you will have 7 to 8 elements in it. That's all. Nothing else a program would be made up of. You may ask, sir, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that, please notice, any program in this world would contain these things. It could have an if condition. It could have an if else condition. It could have an if, else if, else if, else if, else condition. In fact, technically speaking, this is what we call as the else if ladder, we call it as, because there are so many else if, else if, else if, so we call it as the else if ladder. Probably the program would have made use of switch. It could have made use of the for loop. It could have made use of the while loop. It could have made use of the do while loop. It could have made use of the continue, and it could have made use of return. I'm sorry, continue, and it could have made use of break. It could have also made use of go to, but nowadays we are not making use of go to in our programs because it will complicate things. What I would like to tell you is, every program is made up of these many elements only. There is no program where you will find that it's making use of something else other than these. In my 120 to 125 programs, I would also be making use of these things only. In different way, if you combine these things, different programs you would be able to get. You know, if I really have to give you a analogy as to what programming is, actually programming is equivalent to cooking. You may ask, sir, what do you mean by that? What I mean, I would explain. All these things you need not copy, because on each one of this I am going to give you an example. So really no need to copy. If at all it is required to copy, I would tell you to copy it. What I was telling you is, programming is equivalent to cooking. Say supposing this is the cooking example. The chef, previous days we used to call him as the cook. Nowadays we are giving him a hi-fi word, chef. He is the fellow who cooks food, whereas the fellow who writes the program, we call him the programmer. But both are same. They do almost the same. You might tell, sir, how is cooking same as programming? First of all, cooking is an art which you have to learn. Programming is also an art only. Always remember, art, the word art means whenever you practice, you know, it actually keeps on improvising. That skill is only called as art. The more you practice, the more you improve. Cooking is like that only, it's an art. The more you practice, the more the taste of the food increases. Same is the case for a programmer as well. The more programs he tries to write, the better programmer he becomes. For cooking, any chef, what all will he make use of? The available items. Every dish in this world would be making use of rice, wheat, ragi, sugar, salt, spice, dal, these things only, and many more. These are the basic elements which you will find in any dish. Similarly, in any program you will find if else, switch, for, while, do while, break, continue. These are the things. The basic elements of any dish are these. The basic elements of any program are these. Now to cook a dish, sometimes the chef may take rice, he may take sugar, he may take some dal, and he may cook some dish. So ultimate outcome is dish, which we will eat and we enjoy. Same is the case here. The programmer for a particular program, he may take if, he may take for, he may take break, and ultimately he will give us the program. What I mean to say through this example is that programming is certainly not difficult. The more you practice, the more you would start finding it to be comfortable. If you don't practice, certainly even cooking also, even cooking rice is probably going to be very difficult, but for a few it is so easy because they have done it so many times. In simple words, make sure that whatever programs I would be teaching you, every day you are going back home or maybe in our lab, you are sitting down and practicing those programs. The more you practice, the more you would be an expert in it. But all said and done, each and every program that I teach would be made out of these elements only. Nothing else it would be made out of. It would be made out of only these elements. You may not believe, sir, really will all your programs be made up of only these many things? 100% they will be made up of only these many things. If you feel like copying this, you can be copying. Be quick. Okay, so I would proceed now. I know some of you might have found that I have not given sufficient time to copy. You can always pause and you can always be copying it, so that should not be an issue. So going ahead, the first thing that I should actually be teaching you is how each of these basic elements work. That is what is the first thing that I should be teaching you. I can teach you programming in any language. I can use Java, I can use C++, I can use C language. I can be using any language to teach you the basics of that programming part. But I prefer to use C language due to two reasons. Most of you in your first semester at least know the basics of C language. Printf will print it, scanf is used to read from the keyboard, int is used to create an integer. These basic stuff you know. That is one of the reasons why I select C language as a language to teach you the programs. The second reason as to why I am selecting C language is because C language is again one of the languages which is relevant for the placements. In your initial rounds, that is the first round, very often it is C aptitude and Java aptitude questions only which would be asked. So that way teaching programming using C language makes more sense. Of course, every program that I am teaching in C language, once you get considerable hold over Java, try to convert each of these C programs to a Java program. You would get good hold over Java language as well. All said and done, I would be using C language to convey the programming part completely. All the 120 programs that I would be teaching, I would be using C language to convey it. First thing, some of you may ask, sir, I won't use any of these things that you told, sir. If I won't use, if else I won't use, switch I won't use, for I won't use, continue, break, nothing I will use, sir. Then how will the control flow, you may ask. What will be the flow of control, you may ask. Please understand, if you don't use anything, then the flow of control is going to be linear, or in other words, the flow of control is going to be sequential. You may ask, sir, what do you mean by that? What I mean, please notice, just in case I tell here printf Sachin, and then I will tell printf Dhoni. just in case I tell like this. And if I want them to get printed on separate lines, I would very often tell it as /n, so that the next output goes to the new line. Here also maybe /n I will tell. Now this by itself is not a complete program, just printf I have told. I will have to enclose it within one function called as the main function. So this is the void main function, inside which I will enclose this. Okay sir, now can I execute it, sir? You may tell. You can execute it, but I would suggest you that always you clear the output screen before running your program, so that on the output screen only your program output comes. If you don't clear the screen, then some old programs output would be there on the screen. Along with that, your output also would come, which you may not appreciate it. So first clear the output screen by telling clear screen. Not only that, I would also suggest you that at the end you put get ch. Why should we do this, sir? Some of you may ask. Get ch if you don't put, then the output will come on the screen and go off so fast that you may not be able to see the output only. Output will come, it will get displayed, immediately it will go off. You don't want such a thing. You want to see the output for some time. After seeing the output, when you hit the enter key, output should go off from the screen. If that is your expectation, then make sure that at the end you are putting get ch. Of course, no placement company is going to ask you, why do you put clear screen, why do you put get ch at the end? I just told you that in all my programs, I'm going to have a get ch at the beginning. I'm going to have clear screen at the beginning. I'm going to have get ch at the end. You might tell, okay sir, is it going to work? Even now it's not going to work. I will have to include stdio.h. I know some of you would be thinking as to why should we include stdio.h, sir? You may ask. I have my other set of videos called C aptitude videos. There in depth I have discussed as to why this hash include stdio.h. Technically speaking, stdio.h, that .h means header file. In the header file, all the headers would be there. If I try to speak more on header files now, it would distract our focus from programming. So let me not speak about the header files. Just take this much from me, that we should always include the header file if the program has to work correctly. In the beginning of the program, I will put clear screen so that the output is completely cleared and only my output comes on the screen. All the other outputs will get cleared. At the end, I will put get ch so that I will get time to see my output. These are the things which we will follow for all the programs that I am going to write. So let your focus not be on stdio, clear screen and get ch. Let your focus be on the real core part of the program. In this, if you look at the core part of the program, what I have is two printf statements. I have not used any if else, switch, for loop, nothing I have used. Then how will the program execute, sir? You may ask. Always remember, the main function execution, always the OS begins the execution. Whichever OS, it could be DOS, it could be Windows, it could be Unix, whichever OS is the one which begins the execution of the main function. So OS is going to transfer the control to the main function like this, and the main function first it will clear the screen. Means whatever old outputs are there on the screen, all that would get cleared. After which control flow is linear. That is what I told you. Next it is going to execute printf, which is going to print Sachin. It's going to print Sachin. After that, sir, after that control will flow linearly and it's going to print the next one, that is Dhoni. After that, sir, after that the control will come and halt here. Why it will halt, sir? You may ask. So that this output, whatever it has shown on the screen, you would require some time to watch this output. How long will it halt there, sir? Till you press enter key. You will will see the output. Once you are satisfied with the output, you will press the enter key. When you press the enter key, control goes out of the main. Oh, okay sir, it will go out of the main. Then where will it go, sir? You may ask. It will go out of the main and it's going to go back from where the control came. Obviously, it's going to go back to the OS. So OS is the one which begins the execution by giving it to the main. Main executes your program linearly. After the execution, control goes back. Oh, is this really going to happen, sir? Will it really execute, sir? You may ask. Yes, it's going to happen. The program that I have typed on the board, that I have written on the board, has already been typed. I would just display it for your reference. You can notice. Now, this is the program which I have typed on the board, which I have written on the board. The same thing has been typed. You know that it is in high-level language. If anything is in the high-level language, then the machine can't execute. Machine wants everything in machine-level language. So we have to convert this from high level to machine level. Converting from high level to machine level is only called as compilation. How to compile? On this software, I can just go to compile, and if you notice, I can click the compile option also, or I can also use the keyboard buttons Alt F9, whichever way you can be doing. I will click the compile option. The moment I click it, it is telling that no errors, no warnings. But one thing very interesting you have to notice here, the number of lines compiled, it is showing 314 lines it has compiled, it seems. Don't you think our program is after all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines? After all, 7 lines program I have written and I gave to the compiler. The compiler is telling I have compiled 314 lines. So is the compiler lying then to you? Is it giving a huge built-up telling that, look, I have compiled 314 lines? It's really not the case. It has got something to do with hash include stdio.h. I have not explained that hash include stdio.h in my programming videos. I have explained it in the aptitude videos. You would be allowed to listen to the C aptitude after you complete all the programming videos. That time you would be able to understand as to why the compiler is showing 314 lines. In fact, the compiler is not building up or blowing up anything. It is actually it has compiled 314 lines. What it all means, we will understand it going ahead. That's fine. But then compilation is successful. So everything is converted to machine level language. Now my duty is to give this machine level language code to the microprocessor. How? If I press enter key, this will go off. Now my duty is to give the machine level language code to the microprocessor. How to give it? You can go to run, and again here I can just again click on the run, or I can press Control F9. Your wish. You can use the mouse and click the run, or you can use the keyboard and press Control F9. I will say press run. Immediately it will run, and as per our expectation, Sachin Dhoni. That is the output that we have got. Through this, what I have been able to convey to you is, if you don't use if you don't use if else, if you don't use switch, if you don't use any of this, then how will the control flow be? If you ask me, control flow is going to be linear. In fact, that is what I have told you, that the control flow is going to be linear. That is what I have told you. That is what I have shown here, that the control flow is linear. Now, if you want to change the control flow, that is when you should make use of if else and all that you should make use of. Certainly as a programmer, you have to learn the art of changing the control flow. The default control flow is linear. You can break the default control flow by making use of if, for, while, do, while, all that we can make use, and we can break the control flow. How to do it is what I am supposed to teach, which I would be doing. You can quickly copy this program as well. Be quick. So now I would be proceeding further. I would first tell you as to how this if else would work. If you use if else, what would happen? If you use if else, this is what is going to happen if in case you happen to use if else. Pay attention. Say supposing I will tell if in case the condition is true, then you can print Sachin. Otherwise, you can print Dhoni. Say supposing like this I have told. If you ask me, sir, would it execute? You know it won't execute. As normal, I told first I will have to put clear screen. At the end, I will put get ch. And most importantly, both I would be putting it, entire thing I would be putting it inside the void main like this. And obviously, if the program has to execute, I will have to tell hash include stdio.h. Now, some of you may ask, sir, what is this, sir? If true, execute this, else execute this. Please understand, if is such a control construct. We call it as control construct. If is a control construct. It is such a control construct which will either execute the if part or it will execute the else part. In fact, flowchart wise, if I am supposed to give, then we normally represent if like this, that one condition, if the condition is true, then it will execute one body. If the condition is false, then it will execute another body. Both bodies cannot be executed. Ultimately, whether this part or that part, next control will go out of if. This is how we represent if in the form of a flowchart. But then, if you ask me, okay, sir, how would this program execute? Similar to what happened previously. This is your program. And as I told you, it is the operating system which begins the execution of the program. The operating system is going to hand over the control to the main. Main will clear the screen and then it will check. Whatever is there in the if condition, if in case it is true, then this will get executed. If in case it is false, then this will be skipped, this will get executed. Now I have told here true, which means the if part would get executed. But one more thing, remember, in C language, we can't use these keywords true, false, we can't be using it. In Java, we can use true, false, all these keywords, but not in C language. Oh, then what to do, sir? You may ask. Remember, in C language, 0 is treated as false. Any other number is treated as true. Any other number, it will be treated as true. For example, here instead of true, I can tell 1. You know, if I tell 1, then what would it be treated as? Correct. It will be treated as true. True means 100% this will get executed, in which case this won't get executed. One of the two only would get executed. So for this, output is going to be Sachin. Dhoni is going to get skipped in this case. If you ask, sir, really is it going to happen? Yes, it would be happening. You can notice it for yourself that it is bound to happen. Notice. The same whatever I have written there has been typed here. Again, I will have to compile. For compiling, I will press Alt F9, in which case it is showing me some 2 warnings. You may ask, sir, warning what to do? See, we as Indians, we don't care warnings. So forget about warnings. Leave it. Next, I will directly run the program. When I have to run the program, control F9, you can see Sachin is going to be the output. So Sachin has got printed, Dhoni has not got printed. Why? Because you prevented sequential control flow. You inserted a control construct called as if else. This control construct will ensure that one of the two statements only will get executed. Some of you may ask, sir, I want Dhoni to get executed, what to do? If you want Dhoni to get executed, then this is what you have to be doing. If you really want to execute Dhoni, this is what you should be doing. Here, don't give this condition as 1. Give the condition as false, but I can't write false. I told you, false in C language is 0. So the moment I write it as 0, then control doesn't go to this part, rather control goes to this part. So Dhoni gets printed, and hence the output in the second case is going to be Dhoni. So if you want me to show the control flow, either this will get executed, after which the next one won't get executed, Dhoni won't get executed, and the program comes to a halt, or this would get executed and then the program comes to a halt. Both would never get executed. That is what basically I wanted to say. Is it going to happen, sir? If you will ask, yes, it is going to happen. You can notice it. The same program has been typed. When I compile, no issues. Of course, warnings, we ignore it. When I'll execute, as per our expectation, we have got Dhoni as the output. I hope you have been able to understand as to how if-else works. How to use it in serious programming. That I will tell you how to use it in serious programming. But as a student, you have to know control flow is sequential, where all the statements will get executed. But if you want one set to get executed under true conditions, another set to get executed under false conditions, then make use of if-else. When I use it in actual coding, later you would start to appreciate the relevance of if-else. You can maybe copy this program, and then I would be able to move to the next control construct. You can quickly copy this. So we would proceed further and try to understand the other control constructs that we have. The other control construct that I have to tell you is about the else if ladder. I would like to tell you about the else if ladder. This else if ladder, say supposing I have some 4 names I have. I have Sachin, Dhoni, Yuvraj, Virat. If all 4 have to get printed sequentially, then don't use any control construct. But I want only one of them to get printed. If that is the case, then I have to make use of else if ladder. How to make use? All of you pay attention. What I would first do is, I will ask the programmer, enter a number. I will ask the programmer to enter a number. Whatever the programmer enters, that I will scan it, collect and keep it inside one variable called as num. Based on which number the fellow has entered, the corresponding fellow I am going to display. You may ask, sir, what do you mean by that? I will check if in case the number happens to be 1, then I am going to print Sachin. Else, if in case the number happens to be 2, then I am going to print Yuvraj. Else, if in case the number happens to be 3, then I will print Dhoni. Else, if in case the number happens to be 4, then I will print Virat. If it is neither 1 nor 2 nor 3 nor 4, if it is some other number that you have entered, then control comes here, in which case I will tell unknown cricketer. Something like this I have written. I close this. Of course, this program is as of now an incomplete program. I have to complete it, and you know how to complete it. As normal, at the beginning I have to tell clear screen, the reason I have told. At the end I have to tell get ch, the reason I have told. But in this case, you are using one variable called as num. So I have to declare it. I will declare it as int num. Not only that, I am also going to actually create the void main function like this. Say this is our program. Simply it appears to be a lengthy program, but otherwise it is quite readable for you. If none of this, if, else if, else if, else if none of this was there, 100% all the 4 cricketers' names would have got printed. But maybe sometimes in programming I don't want all the cricketers to get printed. What I want to get printed is only those cricketers whose number I give as the input. In fact, the program has been designed like that only. I am asking the programmer to enter a number, and whatever number he enters, I will collect it, and based on which number you have entered, the corresponding cricketer's name only will get displayed. Like if you have entered the number 1, then Sachin will get displayed, after which control will never go to these. Directly control will come out. If you have entered the number as 2, then control will go directly into this, after which control comes out. If you have entered the number as 3, control comes here, after which control comes out. If you have entered the number as 4, control directly comes here, after which the control comes out. If you have entered some other number other than these, then control directly comes here. It will display unknown cricketer and it would stop. This control construct is what we call as the else if ladder. How it works, if you have to notice, then just look at the display, you would get an idea. The same program, whatever I have written there has been typed. In fact, I can go above and show that it is the same program which has been typed. Now if I will compile by pressing Alt F9, there are no errors or warnings. Okay. When I execute, the program is designed in such a manner where it will ask me enter a number. You can enter any number of your choice. Say you enter the number as 9. Obviously, if you enter the number as 9, it doesn't go to any of the blocks, either for Sachin or Dhoni or Yuvraj. Know where it goes. You know where it goes. It directly goes to that last else part, unknown cricketer. It would get printed and the program halts like this. I hope you are able to understand. Now I would again execute this program. If I run the program again, it will ask me enter a number. If say I will enter the number as 2, then you know to which block the control is going to go. Control is going to go to Uraj block, and if I press it, it prints it as Uraj. Just once more I would execute it so that you get an idea. Just in case, I would again execute it and enter the number as 4. Then you know it's going to go to the Virat block, it would print it, and then it would stop. I hope you've got an idea as to how the else if ladder works. Else if that way is an extension of that, else if ladder is nothing but an extension of if else, if else, if else, if else. That is what we technically call as else if ladder. You can quickly copy this. Okay. Now we would proceed ahead and understand the next control construct, that is the switch control construct. How does this switch control construct work? Remember, wherever you have used else if ladder, at all such places you can actually use switch. For example, in this program you have noticed that we have made use of this else if ladder. I will take out this else if ladder completely. I will take out this else if ladder, and I can actually at its place make use of switch. Some of you may ask, sir, how to make use of switch, sir? The switch syntax, it is like this. Switch num. In case your number is 1, if in case it is 1, I will print Sachin. And after printing Sachin, I should not be in switch. I should break out of switch. So you should tell break. Some of you may ask, sir, if I don't tell break, what will happen? That will be a programming mistake from your end, because if you don't tell break explicitly, control will go off to the remaining cases also. So when you use switch, you have to be careful that once your work is over, you should break out of that case. Otherwise, if you don't break out, control will go off to the next case. If in case that number happens to be 2, means whatever this number is there, if in case it happens to be true 2, then I will print Uraj. And after printing, you break it out. You break out of the switch, come out of the switch. Similarly, in case it is 3, then I will have to print Dhoni, and after printing Dhoni, I will break. In case it is 4, then I will have to print Virat, and after printing Virat, I will break. If you notice in the previous example, if it was none of these, then we were also printing unknown cricketer, the last else, unknown cricketer. that last else, here we call it as default. Default means if it is not case 1 also, case 2 also, case 3 also, case 4 also, only then control comes here. In which case I am going to print it as unknown cricketer. I am going to print it as unknown cricketer, and then I would break. This is the beginning of switch, this is the ending of switch. And as you know, at the end of the program, always I would be writing get ch. That is the beginning of the main, this is the ending of the main. If you'll ask me as to how the output would look like, same way as whatever previously we have got. Previously, when I used the else if ladder, if I pressed 1 I got Sachin, if I pressed 2 I got Dhoni, and how I got that, in a similar manner this is also going to work. So wherever you use else if ladder in your program, at all such places, even switch you can use. Out of the two, which is better? If you ask me, switch is a better one because it is more organized. Some of you may feel, sir, if I take out these breaks, what will happen, sir? If you take out the break, I have told you, if in case you give the number as 1, then it will go to 1, print Sachin. If break is there, it will break and come out. If break is not there, it will print Sachin, go down, it will print Yuvraj. If this break is not there, then it will again go down, print Dhoni. If this break is not there, again it will go down, print Virat. That risk you should not take. Always in switch, once you finish execution of a case, you should not let the control to trickle down to the next case. You should come out of the switch, and to come out of the switch only, we have the break construct. I will demonstrate it for you. If in case break is removed in the switch, what is going to happen, I would demonstrate it for you. But before that, let us see as to how this program works. Notice it, that the same program here has been typed. If I would compile it, then as normal, no errors and no warnings. If I will execute it, again as normal, it is asking me to enter a number. Like previously I entered the number first time as 9. If I enter the number as 9 here, it is going to go to the default case and it will print unknown cricketer. Similar to our previous one. Not only that, again if I will execute it, it will ask me to enter a number. If I will enter the number as say 2, then as normal it's going to print Yuvraj. Similar to the old one. Again, if I would give the number as say 4, then as normal it's going to print Virat. Okay, now watch it. If in case I give the number as 1, then you can see that it prints Sachin. Now I will get back to the program and I will take out break. If I take out break, then Sachin, below that break is there, so control has come out. If I take out the breaks, then case control will trickle down to the other cases. I will do it, all of you pay attention, that in the program itself I would make the change and show it to you. Here this break I will take out. I am taking out that break. Okay, this break also I will take out. 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 Say. Now, when I will compile this, computer won't tell any error and all that. It won't tell. Why will it tell? Because it's not a problem for the system. You have not put the break, that is fine. But when I will execute it, it will ask me, enter the number. If in case I press the number as 1, can you guess what will be the output this time? Control goes to case 1. In case 1, Sachin is there. Soon after Sachin, automatically it will trickle down and go to Yuvraj. And then it will go to Dhoni. Then it will go to Virat. In fact, it will also go to unknown cricketer. That is what is your output. Notice Sachin, Yuvraj, Dhoni, Virat, unknown cricketer. You may tell, sir, what, sir? All in one line it has come. It should have come one below the other. Of course, in the printfs, if you had put /n, it would all have come one below the other. But the point is simple, that you can notice that everything is getting printed. Say supposing I will again execute the program, and if I will give the number as say 2, now can you guess what will be the output? 2 means control will go to case 2, and then after printing case 2, that is Yuvraj, after that everything else gets printed. As you can see, Yuvraj, Dhoni, Virat, unknown cricketer. Just once more I would execute. If in case I will give the number as 3, then control goes to case 3, and then it will trickle down to everything below that. That is, it's going to go to directly Dhoni, and then it will trickle down to Virat and also unknown cricketer, as you can see. All said and done, what I would like you to understand is that whenever you use switch, don't forget to use break. I hope I am clear on this. But here I would also like to tell you one more point, that is it necessary to use break for all the cases? Yes, it is necessary to use break for all the cases, but actually this last default case, even if you don't use break, it is okay, because anyway after executing default, control will anyway come out only. Even if you don't tell break, it will come out only. So only one place where you can avoid break is for this last, that is the default case. But then anyway you have put break everywhere, put off one break there also, what is it that you would lose? But actually at this place, even if you don't tell break, it is fine, not an issue. I hope you have been able to understand. Please be quick, copy this. Okay, so I hope in this first session of programming you have been able to understand these three things. If you don't use any control construct, the control flow is going to be sequential. If you want to alter the control flow, then you can make use of either if or else if ladder or switch. If you have only two choice, you have to execute either this or that, then you can make use of if else. If you have to make a selection out of only two things, then you can make use of if else. If you want to make a selection out of many options, like in our case, when you had to make a selection out of Sachin, Dhoni, you made use of if else. That was our second example. But if you have to make a selection out of Sachin, Yuvraj, Dhoni, Virat, many options are available. Out of so many options, when you have to make a selection, you can either make use of else if ladder or you can make use of switch. Again, I repeat, out of the two, if you ask me which is better, 100% it is the switch which is better. Industry prefers switch because it is more readable. All said and done, I hope today's session you have been able to understand. If possible, type these programs today itself, either using Turbo C or type these programs in Java. Every day make it a habit that whatever I am going to teach in C, you try to either type it in C or type it both in C as well as in Java, so that your hold actually starts to increase. This commitment if you can have till I complete about 125 programs, I think you would emerge as a strong programmer. Don't think that, oh, nothing, no complicated programs were taught, simply some if else, nested if else, switch was taught, which I already knew. If some of you are thinking so, please understand that as a teacher I have to teach everything from scratch. I am not assuming anything here, that a student knows that a student knows this, and hence let me start off from a particular level so that everyone will that is not my way of teaching. My way of teaching is such that a student without any knowledge, even if he comes and listens to these videos, he should be able to completely understand. So maybe today being the first session, whatever I have told, a few things you could have already known, a few new things you have learnt, it's okay. If at all it's been a repetition. But going ahead, certainly every one of you would be enjoying the sessions. In fact, in my next session, I'm going to speak about the loops and how loops will alter the control flow. That is what is the topic of discussion for us in the next session. I hope you have enjoyed this session.